I'm Harvey Hubbell. This is Harvey Hubbell's Show and Tell. And I'm Harvey Hubbell. And what's your name and what do you do?
I'm Jessica McKee, and I'm the president of the International Dyslexia Association in Pennsylvania.
That's true. And we're coming to see you very soon.
Yes, in July on the 27th in Harrisburg.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're like my new best friend because you are a really good person. You're a mom. And that's one of the things that kind of motivates you, I guess, to get so involved in dyslexia. But why don't you tell me how did you get to be who and what you are right now?
So I got involved with dyslexia because my oldest son has dyslexia. So going back, my training is in social work. I've always been in the community and helping folks and individuals. And then when my son was going to school and we were facing all of these struggles, it was really hard as a parent to figure it out. I didn't have a lot of support. There was not a lot of answers. There was a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. And I had to work really, really hard to figure out what he needed and what was best for him and how to get those services. And from there, all I kept thinking is there are all these families and individuals out there that aren't going to be able to do what I did to try to access services. They're not going to know how to do the research or where to find these information. And so I started volunteering. I started with Decoding Dyslexia here in Pennsylvania. I was involved with NCLD for a while. And I got involved with the IDA here in Pennsylvania. And, this is just, I've been very passionate for quite a long time. My son just graduated this year, so I'm super excited for him and his accomplishment. But I really wanted to help make this easier for families, for kids and parents who just didn't know where to start, just didn't know.
And your son graduated from AIM Academy, which is so how far are you away from AIM?
Just about an hour. Depends on traffic.
So
the traffic down the.
So you're one of those moms. You're the kind of guy that gets up and drives your kid for an hour there and then drives them back, or?
Well, not quite. We had a little. I don't know if I call it a battle, but we had. Advocated very strongly against our school district for appropriate education. And they were willing to place him there because they were not able to meet his needs. So in that placement, they actually provided the transportation. So we were fortunate that we did not have to figure out how to navigate the travel for him. It would have been a little bit difficult for us because we also drive our kids to the school that they're in. They're in a charter school here in where we are in this side of Pennsylvania. And so it would have been a little challenging, but we were fortunate in that aspect. Not everybody gets that opportunity and not everybody can afford a private school like AIM or any. We're fortunate here in the Philadelphia region. We have so many strong schools for kids with learning disabilities. So
wow. Really so you live, so I'm a little geographically challenged. So we're going to do a screening in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on what's the date again?
July 27th.
July 27th. So where you live closer to Philadelphia than Harrisburg? Because they're a couple hours away, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm almost in the middle, almost exactly.
Okay, so
it'll take me about an hour and a half to get up to Harrisburg. It'll take me about an hour to get to Philly.
Perfect. You're living in a very good place. My sister lives in Harrisburg, and she says it's the center of the universe. She drives every place. She drives to New York. She drives some. Anyway, I could go on about my sister, but I'm not. I am. You know something, and you got to take this the right way. I've heard what you've said, and I appreciate you and what you've done. Like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, or something like that, when I was first started interviewing bigwig celebrity dyslexia cultish heroes, Sylvia Richardson told me, she goes, I hear this story all the time. And so it's this mom story. And this is a mama bear and a cub, which is what Decoding Dyslexia is all about, which is fueled by love and passion and empathy and a bunch of pissed off moms. And then you have a school. Wait a minute, help me understand this, because doesn't it seem like the schools should just teach our kids? We have the science of reading. We know how to do this. doesn't it cost them some money that they were paying a guy to drive a van to drive your kid, and your poor kid who had to get up and drive,
Yeah.
that time, and those are times going back and forth, and I hope he figured out something fun to do. And it just doesn't make sense to me why these schools don't get it.
You know, it doesn't make sense to me either. And it's been a lot of, we've talked to a lot of folks in PA and a lot of educators who don't understand why their schools aren't necessarily on board. And some of it comes down to you don't know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Until it's brought to your attention, until you, maybe get the knowledge and the experience. But it's I agree, like 100%. Like it just doesn't make sense as to why you have to go elsewhere to get your kids what they need. And they say the average dyslexia family spends tens of thousands of dollars a year on private tutoring. Well, the lucky, lucky maybe isn't the right word, but the fortunate ones do, right? The people who have the means to be able to pay for that type of tutoring for their children do. But what about all these kids who don't have families who can afford hundreds of dollars a week just so they can learn how to read? That is what we're sending them to public schools for. That's what we're sending them to private schools for. That's what we're sending them to charter schools for. That's what we're sending them to cyber schools for. And there needs to be a change across the country, but definitely here in Pennsylvania on how we're teaching kids how to read.
And you're going to do it, Jessica McKee. And you have a magic wand. You have a magic wand. So when you wave your magic wand, who's going to come to your screening, our screening of Hopeville, How to Win the Reading Wars? Who's going to come to that? If you filled up that whole entire audience, who's going to be there? There's going to be teachers, there's going to be administrators, there's going to be policymakers, but parents, who's coming? You're waving that magic wand.
We want them all. we want them all, and it is for everybody. I mean, it's family friendly. We welcome for parents. You bring your kids. It's more than an appropriate venue for them. But yes, we're asking superintendents and legislators and special education supervisors and teachers of all grade levels, not just younger kids, not just elementary, not just special education teachers, but every educator. This is a wonderful opportunity to network and connect, learn a little bit about dyslexia, how to teach reading, and why it's important to change how we're teaching reading. I mean, that's the most important part, is kind of understanding the need for the change.
And we have a panel discussion too, right? And
Yeah.
I'm moderating it.
We're fortunate we'll have Pam Kastner, our state literacy lead from Bataan, will be on our panel. She will be one of the panelists, and she is just a phenomenal, I say she's such a powerhouse. She's our own little treasure trove here, and I know she gets embarrassed when I say things like that to her, but she's like our own celebrity here in Pennsylvania in the literacy world. And we're really fortunate to have her here advocating for our students and helping educate our teachers. So she's going to be one that you don't want to miss, coming to the panel and hearing, what she has to say.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking with her as well. And, but, I just want to just say that these things are like, I love when you said they're family friendly. I mean, sometimes the kids come in and they're beginning to kind of figure out this is their future, and this is really important stuff, and they need to learn how to advocate. And they come in and they see a bunch of caring people that, this is what you said before. You said, when you don't know what you don't know, but once you know better, you do better. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. The interesting thing is parents and teachers working on solving the problem together, and it's not the finger pointing. It's like, we're past that. There's a body of evidence. There's 50 years of science of reading evidence. We have to train everybody to be able to go through these papers and get our educators up to speed. And I don't know why they didn't teach them in college this. I mean, the guys who, if you come out of like, hi, I'm a pilot. I went to pilot school. I know how to fly a plane. They know how to fly planes. You're bridge builder. I know how to build bridges. And our teachers have paid money to go to school to learn how to teach kids how to read, and they're like, oh, it's those kids. It's not me. It's those kids. It's the kids with this zip code, these kids, those kids, that family, that stuff. And in reality, we know we can teach 95% of our more than that how to read, and we're failing.
And it's a system failure, right? It's not just a teacher failure.
No, teachers are good people.
I know, yeah. And from my own experience with my kids, and I'm starting over. I have a 8-year-old who is also dyslexic. So I'm doing this again.
I saw that. So he is now certified dyslexic, because I heard you saying before you didn't know if he was dyslexic, but now he's certain. It's a he.
So, well, I had a middle child. My middle son, Devlin, is 15, and I thought he was dyslexic. He has a lot of the classic hallmark signals, but what we found out just this past year is he has hearing loss.
Oh.
So a lot of the things that we saw that made it look like he was dyslexic probably were just symptoms of the undiagnosed hearing loss. But I have a little one, an 8-year-old, and a girl, and she is dyslexic. She was just diagnosed this past year, and we're having a terrible time once again getting services and getting appropriate intervention and appropriate instruction. The IEP process, just to get the initial IEP, took me 6 months, and it was a terrible IEP. Horrible. Yeah, I was very disappointed. And so we know we have a lot of work cut out for ourselves. But what I find is that, I get good, there's a range of teachers in terms of their knowledge and their backgrounds, and some are really strong and some of the others are not as strong. But they all care, right? They're all passionate, and they all come in with the idea, especially for the younger kids, right? When they're in elementary school, they want to help, and they're determined that, like, your student is not going to fail in their class. They want your student to succeed. I was never against the teacher. I was against the barriers that were put in place, whether by the school system itself or just, society itself, whatever the scenario was that prevented us from giving students what they need. Because as you said, it costs a lot of money, right, to put kids through school. Just general education. Special education's even more expensive. But we could be doing things different in general ed that saves money, saves referrals into special ed, saves on the behavior referrals that we see in students who end up, having some, behavior issues at school and need additional support in those ways. There's so much that we could be doing differently. Or maybe it's not as much that we have to do differently, but the impact is greater, right? Change one little thing here with how we teach reading, and the domino effect that we would see in students and their mental health and their well-being overall and prospering. I think it just would be amazing to see the difference.
Well, the thing that I really love about what you have going on right now is you have another gift that you're giving everybody. You're a veteran. You're a 2-time veteran, so you're not going to make those same mistakes. You're going to move faster. Hopefully, we know this is a system failure. Teachers are good people. They want to help people. They have empathy. They want to help. They just don't know how to do it. Not all of them. Some of them do. But if people come, so your audience, when you wave your magic wand, and anybody who hears this and is able to come, you're going to save them time and money, and you're going to save. And time is really important when you're in 3rd grade, or you're in 2nd grade, or that's time you can't get back. And so by having the group of experts that you have, that's going to be pretty awesome for people to come in. And we have questions and answers. We watched the film, which is the film 90 some odd minutes, 82 minutes. I ask him that every week. I don't know why. What's wrong with me? So 82 minutes, and then after the film we have Q&A, or we have a panel discussion. Either way, we always get pretty good conversations going. And uniquely, you and I were talking about how diversified Pennsylvania is, but the whole United States is is a diverse place. Yet, and we know that. See, I'm just going to go off on a small rant because I can do that right now. But like in the 1950s, they wanted us all to be assembly line. We won the Second World War, so You can make tanks and jeeps and guns and airplanes. We can make people too. We can just educate them. And it turned out that we're not assembly line things. We're these unique, interesting. Each one of us have our own kind of weird little minds. And guess what? A first grade teacher and a kindergarten teacher has to begin that. They're educational ninjas. They have to unlock that, and and they need a lot of tools in their tool belt, right? So
100%. Hmm.
so tell me more about this panel for our audience to come see.
So we'll have Pam Kastner. Myself will be included. We have Greg Milbrand, who is a superintendent for one of the local Harrisburg area school districts.
He's a good guy, right?
So,
He's a good guy.
so yeah, yeah, and I'll be excited to have someone who knows about bringing the science of reading to their building, right? Having structured literacy and implementing that in their district. And then Krista Mitchek is a part of the Children's Dyslexia Center out of Central Pennsylvania. So she is a tutor and an educator, and she sees families who aren't getting what they need in the school system, who are coming to the Children's Dyslexia Center for that additional tutoring, so that they can support their children's ability to read. So she'll have a really great perspective of what it's like, right, to work one-on-one with these students for years at a time, to help get them through their intervention and remediation so that they're able to go back into the regular classrooms. And
so really when we said before who should come to this screening, I mean, you have the superintendent to give you the information, you have the dyslexic experts, you have the parents. This is the kind of thing that you could be an educator, you could be a parent, you could be somebody who's just trained. Our prisons are full of people who can't read, and our welfare systems are full of people that can't read. It almost seems like it's our duty just to do the right thing. As you said, you don't know, but if you do know, you make a difference. So this is going to be quite the gathering, and Rosette is going to be there, right? The godfather
Yep.
of dyslexia, or I call her the godmother of of the Pennsylvania movement. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you know my friend, our friend Diane Dragon? She's.
I know who she is. Yeah.
Yeah. Just as a mom, as an educator, an education attorney. I mean, it's just there's so many people out there that are, and as you said, you have a certain skill set. Each of these moms, one of the great thing about Decoding Dyslexia is moms unite around the keyboards, and they connect and like, hey, what's an IEP? What's going on with Oh, they told me my kid can learn to read. He'll learn next year. Wait and see, and all of these things that system failure, as you said. We tell our educators, oh no, don't worry, just tell them. The older teacher tells the younger teacher, oh, this kid will kick in next year. It's like, well, you'll learn to fly a plane next year. Just get your diploma and get out there and start flying. I don't know. So, all right. So tell me, what's going on with the laws, the bills? What's on the what can we change? How can we make it better?
So we are actually this week in a very critical time here in Pennsylvania, because we have a bill pending. It's called the Senate Bill 801. It is on the science of reading. It passed in our Senate here in Pennsylvania. It is in the House, and it is currently kind of stalled there. And the governor is working on finalizing budget numbers this week. And so we really need to make a very strong push to get Senate Bill 801 passed in the House. It passed 48-1 in the Senate. And it is stalled here in the House, which is really unfortunate. This bill is assisting schools in providing professional development in foundational reading skills and interventions based in structured literacy. It also has a component for universal screening, and there'll be free universal screeners identified by our Department of Education that would be appropriate for schools to use. It's also going to identify a list of appropriate structured literacy aligned curricula that schools could adopt. It's going to help set up a network of reading coaches within buildings so that teachers with several years of experience can help support younger students younger teachers moving into the science of reading and structured literacy, and help support those practices in class. In the classroom settings, there's going to be some training that's going to occur that it'll be in the class, it'll be modeling and coaching, and it's all in designed to improve reading and literacy outcomes, not just reading, but literacy outcomes, right? The whole gamut, not just phonics, not just, phonemic awareness, but it's talking about content background knowledge being increased. It's talking about reading comprehension and fluency improving. It's talking about all types of literacy. So this bill is just more than unfortunate if we can't get this to pass the House. It's already halfway through. We just need it to get passed here in the House. So if folks want to, write their legislators, call and text the governor. I don't know his hotline number, but our governor has one. You can text him. And you can reach out and tell them that you support.
Here's the thing is, like, what happens is this isn't just a one-time thing. And you know what I like about dyslexics, and dyslexic families, they're producing new dyslexics every year. They're just rolling out just new baby dyslexics, and I gotta love it. And so this problem's not going away. And you won the battle, with your oldest kid, and then you're back in. You're like the Godfather, They thought you were going to get out, then they bring you back in, right? So but you're an experienced advocate. You're an experienced fighter for the rights of dyslexic kids, and we applaud you for that. That's really important.
Yeah, thank you. It is super important. There's so many families that just don't know.
And those are the people who should be coming to. Okay, let's just say that this bill, whatever happens, I don't know why it goes through almost unanimous at one place and then it gets stalled. I don't know how the government works. I just can't figure it out sometimes. But I don't know why that happens. But this is something that we have a lot of educators. In our film it says 30% of the schools in the United States use the science of reading. Watch this. 70% don't. So that's place to grow, right? And we got to keep helping people, and we have the information, and people like your panelists have huge amounts of information and facts that can be discussed on how to fix things, and schools need to change, and they need to teach our kids how to read. And just in closing, I want to tell you, I'm probably getting out of the filmmaking business. After all of these years, I'm going to open up an airline, and I'm looking for money. I'm going to call it Good Enough Airlines, and we'll get you there like 33%. Well, we'll get the people there. If it works for our states and our nations to not educate everybody, then it'll work for an airline too. That's what I'm thinking. It's an experimental thing I'm trying. So I'll let you know how I do when I see you in Harrisburg.
All right, let me know how that makes out.
Okay, I'll let you know how that. And if you want to, I can maybe book a flight for you if you're interested, or maybe representatives or school superintendents or something like that. We got a little hop on the plane and maybe you get there. All right, that wraps us up for now. All right, thank you very much for today.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
thank you very much.